So we are now live and yeah. Hello, pop culture avenger. Greetings. I'm going to get started, I guess. You're here. And I might as well start the show with my new, what is it, opening. So let's get it going. Let's see. Come on, let's, oh, jeez. Stop. You have to do this the right way. You know, I'm just a little bit on a strange side. Okay, let's start it all over again here. Okay, I'm gonna stop, and now I'm going to add it here. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to get my act together here. Ha! Here we are. That's the my video, and I'm still trying to understand how to do this. I'm going to always have a problem with it, but I'm just going to remove this. Oh, I got to put that up there. Thank you, Pop. Can I call you Pop, or do you want me to call you Invenger or Cult? Hello, Frater CR. Hello. So, let's see, just by way of trying to explain what I'm going to do today is, you know about my character, Mychal the Bloodwing Angel. Well, we're launching it on Indiegogo on Saturday. So I thought I'd show you how I draw at least an action pose of Mychal, and I'm doing I have one of the perks is doing a large size drawing, 8.5 by 11. But I figured, as a way of talking and instead of just doing a lesson, I would just be a way to have a little chat with people. And you can ask me questions. You just look over my shoulder, if that's good enough. It's just a way of getting to know people. So will you just let me know? Oh, Joe! Oh, I got to see this here. Joe D. McPhee. How you doing? How are you doing? I'm glad that you could join us today. Let's see. Now, can everybody hear me? That's the thing, is that I don't have anybody else as a backup. I don't. If everything is good, then I can make sure that I can move forward with confidence. So let's see. I am going to, let me put this on up here. I'm going to add this to the stream, and that's my underdrawing. This is how I, when I really work out stuff and I'm going to do a consistent drawing with others, I'll do something like this. And then for the cleaner drawing, I will put another sheet of paper over it and then start really working on it. So this is not a clean drawing. This is still a rough sketch. So I'll oh, let's see. Joe says I will have some art questions later. Of course, that's fine. Okay, well, let me start here and start playing around with this. When I do this, there's always I think about what my balance is with my characters, what the vectors are, and you know, if I got so many elements going on, I've got two wings on either side. I've got two arms and I've got two legs here to be in a nice position, you know, so that it is a nice balance. It's a feeling of a sweep, you know, but not everything being the same. Just trying to get a feeling of dynamics. The torso, that's one of the major things I think about is how do you make sure that your torso has a sense of dynamic form to it. And again, trying to make everything work in a balanced manner. Some people say they start with the head. I move all over the place. This gives me an idea of where everything can be in relationship in a sense of balance. And that's another thing here. For example, here I always, you know, try and have some kind of sense of form. Get a sense of twisting and turning, and yet and have my hands working in some manner that's expressive in a gesture of some kind. Doesn't always have to be a fist. And as I start getting into this here, I start figuring out when I figure out what the fanning of the wings would be like. I don't have to be solid, but at least you have form and space, but there is still a shape to the fan. That's not the same when you have two things. We used to call them twins, you know, twinning. Don't try to keep it from happening that way. Try to not to have the old, you know, sometimes you'd have something like you'd have arms out like that, and yay, okay, well that's pretty boring. If you were going to, and that's twinning. If you're going to have a fist up like this here, sometimes you know it's more interesting to see that than that. Anyway, so I've got basically an idea of how I want as I was working through this, a designy hair, It doesn't have to be the same kind of flow. Try and get a long tresses, but more very flame like. So here, let's see here. And Mychal has got almond eyes and very shaped, very large eyes. And a small mouth. I will look up and answer questions as you send them out to me. That'll be good. Oh, Pat Campbell. I used to work on an animation table like that. I was trained in animation by Everett Byrne. Do you know him? Well, where is he from? What? Is it Canadian? Is it American? I worked in both parts, but I don't remember working with anybody named Everett Brown. Let's see here. Question from Joe D. McPhee. So when is it good to be completely symmetrical? If twinning is bad, how do you avoid unrelated poses? Well, it's kind of like, all you have to do is, okay, I'm just going to do this right now. Okay, here we are. We've got our two hands, like that. Okay, this is exactly it's twinning right here, right? If you're going to do something, just things are not mechanical pistons. You have something will always lead with the other. There's always something that will happen that will be one hand the dominant hand will move first, and then the secondary arm would come second. So there'll always this here. There'll always be something happening, but this is except if you're going to hold that pose. Whoops! There you go. Look at that. Yeah, sometimes you have a situation where you might have a dominant, you might hold the pose, but in your action, in your paneling, in your storytelling, you're really capturing a movement. So therefore, there's the difference between a posed scene and capturing scene, in action. Let me see here. Who's got something here? He did animation for Matt. What studio that he worked for? If he well, first of all, I didn't work for. Okay, Garfield is well, that Joe Romo or Phil Roman was Phil. Did he work for Phil Roman? Because I never worked at that studio, and there are so many people there, in the industry. If it were early on, then I would remember him, because I left California. I mean, I was in Toronto. I left. I was there in the '70s and early '80s. I was in New York during the mid '70s, but we all kind of came up at the same time. Then in the 80s, I was in Los Angeles, and and I left in LA in about 86. So if he came up after that, I wouldn't have physically, have worked with him. I don't know, but even working through, FedEx or on shared studios, I don't remember, working with him. But if you remember a disc like this, yeah, that's your standard. Let's see if I can get this here. So Joe, did that make sense to you? What I was saying about being symmetrical? So, uh, try to give a nice, just. Uh, it's kind of hard to be fierce when you're cute like this, but this angel is Mychal is a pretty angel. All beautiful. All angels are beautiful, even the evil ones. But I try to make a Mychal um, give a feeling of innocence, and has diminished powers in as a semi-mortal. Oh, oh, burst of power. Uh, as a semi-mortal, the angelic flame that would have been, normally one of the fists, one of the arms would be just a blaze, in fire, angelic fire. In this case, all that Mychal can do is, give a finger. That's that's about it. Uh, let's see here. Let's see. See, Matt says he's not sure. It was for CBS TV specially, mostly is all right. So we're talking about the late. Oh well, that could be 60s. Yeah, he was the Peanuts specials were big for CBS, and then during the 70s, you'd have that. No, I actually he might have been earlier than in the business earlier than me. I mean, I got in the business in the early to mid 70s, and he might have been already working at it for back in the in the late 60s, early 70s. But he might have been out of California. Is that correct, Matt? And let's see. And then yes, they're hard to find. Yes, they are hard to find. Yes. So Joe says, I think I understand. I guess other get the twin fisted fight rows wrong in most. Yes, I would not think about dominant hand. Yeah, well, it's if you're a right-handed boxer, you'd be hitting with you'd be leading with your left and then going for the punch. So there are certain things that's not your dominant hand. Your power hand is where you give the big sock. So those are the all things that you have to know about and just be aware of as to how a body moves so that you can get a feeling of believability in your posing. But it's just practice. Just stand in front of a mirror and just be loose and just understand, what's going to happen. Where is it? Where is the dominant force coming from? Where's the power coming from? Even when you get up from a chair, you don't leave, unless you are, being, practiced. Usually, you don't think about when you get up. You lean to one side. That's because you're favoring the weaker side, or you know that your power side is one or the other, and that's what keeps it from being mechanical. Let's see here. Did you say that you're launching a new campaign? Yes, Pop. I'm on Wednesday, on Saturday. Saturday, I'm launching on Indiegogo. It's it's Bloodwing Angel. We're doing. I had launched the Bloodwing on Facebook, rather not Facebook, rather on Kickstarter. But there are so many people who don't do Kickstarter; they prefer Indiegogo. And so, since I've done campaigns for both, on both platforms, I planned to do a second launch on Indiegogo after I had done completed the Kickstarter. So that's on Saturday. I start for 30 days. And Matt, I think he was in California. Somebody here in California. Yeah, then that makes sense. Yes. Yeah, he would be in California. Yeah. So here. Basically, everything I learned the traditional way, which was just, it wasn't in a classroom. I didn't go to school for this. It was a daily, on the job training when you could do that. I learned from old Popeye and Mighty Mouse animators. So, and it would be more of a walk, or rather talk and draw situation where I'd be doing some work, and I'd go and talk to the animators and all the old pros, veterans, and they would, after they fit, if I didn't bother them, because when they were really concentrating, you didn't want to be messing with them. They get really angry if you disturb them. But at a break time, or when you knew that they weren't focused too much, they'd already done all the work that they needed to do on that scene, thinking wise, I'd go to them and I might show them some stuff that I did on my own, and then they'd draw over my drawing, and that's how I learned. And that in many ways, that is the only way that you can learn, and that is by doing it, and then someone showing you where, complimenting you on where you did it right, and then where was it wrong, where were you messing up on, because we all mess up. I mean, even Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson, they'd start from scratch. Every scene was a new thing for them. They'd say, if I'm still, if I'm not worried about something, then that means I'm not trying something to do something new. And you don't know if you are still just doing the same old thing where you are having the same action the same time, it's really you're not progressing at all if you don't feel like you really, like you've stretched yourself. Russell Allen says, Good afternoon. I'm doing well, Russell. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for not showing up. Like, geez, this is not a class, but thank you for swinging by. Uh, yes, and I guess you were saying watching. Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Yes, I think you're talking about, yeah. Yeah, there are two people like to support different platforms, and everybody's got a right to do that. I mean, you feel better, in one place or another. So, okay. So, okay, go here. So characters are. I like to just rework, the pencils like this because I try to make it feel like it's. I want to keep it spontaneous because no matter how many times you do a drawing, if you're not spontaneous in some way, I mean, you can use using the same pose here, but every drawing is different. I mean, I'm turning a little bit. I've got a different feel from one day to the next. How my hand is working. Let's see. Yep. Always cool to draw and see you work. Instead of yes, oh yeah. You were in the you. I believe you're in the first. You were in Kickstarter. Well, I'll start sending books out and on in June for the Kickstarter group, and then for the Indiegogo people, I will do that in July because I have to, print out more books. And Joe says, "How do you deal with people who expect a different style from you? Seem like I run into people who want me to flip a switch and draw like other known people at ah." I'll tell you, Joe, those are people who have never drawn. They just don't understand it, you know. Oh, okay. And so Rustin said, tell them to get the commission from who they want it drawn on. I don't understand people that do that. If I commission you for a piece, it's because I want a character done in your style. Yes. Uh, people, people who have never created, have unreal, many people who have not created have unreasonable expectations. So we're not all the machines. We're not computer. We're not all programmed the same way. You don't just, you're not plugging in a program and saying this is how you do it. There are some people who can ape a style very well, very easily, and then there are those who are like, whoa, I don't understand how to do this. Drawing, hand and eye coordination is very individual to the artist. Some people can just look at a design and say, I understand how that's put together. Others are just purely personal, and that's that. That's all. That's the only way that they'll draw. They'll try to draw better, or try to imitate a style, or at least a design. They'll try a design, but they won't be able to do it in the style. So, you know, yes, yes, Russell wants to say more. That's like asking Bob Ross to draw Spawn. There are no happy. Yes, okay. Yes, okay. There you go. Good. All right. Now, I'm going to use a Blackwing 602 on this one. I'm going to put in a line here on this here. And it'll still be a rough line. Hardest thing to do is to focus eyes. Really is one of the hardest things to do. Make it seem like the character is looking at something. Let's see if we get this here really close up here. Let's see, can I do this here? How am I going to? Can I get this? Don't worry about it. Oh yeah, I'm going to dolly in here so you could see the expression on it. And that's the pencil point. That's so you could see. Many ways in the better hand and eye coordination you have, it's almost like being when you're doing animation or you're doing facial expressions to get a subtle feeling to it. It's like being a surgeon. Not that I'm a surgeon. I have no talent. I was never a talented person for that. That's for sure. Come on. Okay. Try my best to learn as I produce more comics. Yes, Joe, that's exactly what you're doing. We're all doing that. We really are all doing that. That's my first eraser. That's the first eraser. I don't worry about erasing so much anymore, unless I'm doing a finished piece, for for scanning. Let's see here, we got and as your style develops, that's the only way that your style will develop is by doing something different every day. Don't keep trying to draw the same thing over and over again. That's not style. That's just, repetitiveness. Little bursts of the flame. And I just, in all of the years that I drew, I always would start my morning with just drawing hands and feet, legs, arms, just in human proportions, just to understand what the mechanics were involved, what the joints were doing. Then try to do cartoons so much as just understanding how things would flow, and what kind of, you have different types of joints, and then you rotator joints and flex and levers, and there's all kinds of that was just the way that I warmed up in the day. And even if you're just doing it for 10 minutes, over a cup of coffee, that adds time in terms of developmental time. And or just, drawing while watching TV. Of course, obviously, if it's a show that you really enjoy, but baseball, sports, um, if you do, you can study what the action of the character is doing, what the ball player, what the player is doing. I mean, that way you understand human beings and seeing how things are moving. I mean, even if you don't like sports, it's a study in anatomy and in movement. That way you understand. I mean, especially we're talking about comic book artists. Well, you've got to know how to move characters around. Otherwise, all you're doing is copying whatever stock pose has become a meme, in the industry. And you're not bringing anything new. You're not developing anything new. You're not becoming you. I mean, all you're going to be is a bad imitation of somebody else who develops something. I don't mean to sound mean, but that's the reality of it. Man Archie. Hi. Hi to you. Okay. And the wings here. And there you go. That's for Kickstarter 2021. Okay, who we here? How is it going? It's going. We've been here now for 41 minutes. I find that these sessions last. It's they last about a half hour or 40 minutes, and that seems to be what's how long it takes to do one of these drawings. I mean, with the talking and the chatting back and forth. Um, so I can show you now. You've seen how I drew this one here. Um, Here's a model sheet. When I was developing the characters, I started off. That was one of the first drawings of Mychal, and it was just kind of like, okay, what are the basic proportions and relationships and working some of the major characters in this group, especially amongst the family here. The so I was able to understand what basic shapes were different from each other, so that even in silhouette, you wouldn't have a problem recognizing them, or at least differentiating one from the other. Let's see here. Now, this morning I was working on another one that was, I'll just turn this around here. I had done characters full size, and I'd done the page layout like so, and this is the full same size as what the actual page would be, and that was these are my thumbnails. This is how I was playing around with the composition of the page and the panels, and I blow it up so that I can really have a chance to see what the expression to work on them, and then this morning was this here. So I went from that to that. It's just a way so that I'm not losing the energy from one stage to the next, because it's a real pain in the neck to start try to recapture some things. I mean, trying to draw characters that are so, like, here's the middle level here, and I was just walking through this, just getting a good idea of what the interplay between these two characters are, and then I'm able to work them up, on a larger size by blowing it up and just keeping it just, with animation, you start with a really first rough, put another sheet of paper on top of that, recapture it, work it over, and then draw and clean up, and then eventually, you can get to clean up like that. But it's a matter of this is what works for me, and trying to get subtlety. I will even blow this up. These panels, I'm going to be blowing up each one of these 3 panels so that they'll be able to fill, an area about, I don't know, this would be maybe about twice the size of each one of these here, so that I could really get into, drawing the subtlety of the eyes. Because what happens is that at a certain point, I need more space. Things clump up a bit too much, even with a careful rendition with your pen or pencil or pen. As I said, you all know that I don't work with a Cintiq because I just don't like the feel of it. It just ruins, it makes me feel very, I don't know. I don't like the feel of a pen on glass. But at least with this here, I can draw, and I have something physical, to work with. So, and X-Men Archie, I like how it looks, very dynamic. That's you should have it. That's comic books should have subtlety and dynamic feel to them. So let's see. Let's see what can we do here? Characters. All right. When you're drawing characters, I'm just going to throw this out at you. Make sure that they don't look the same. I mean, I like Dick Tracy. One of the things I liked about Dick Tracy is that there's extreme differences from one face to another, one body type to another, and there's an element to drawing like this where it's shapes. It's not physical. It's not realistic. I don't like realism. I like believability, but I don't like realism. That's just not what that's. If I want something that's realistic, then it's more of a, I'm taking a photograph or I'm doing live action. It's not animation. Let's go here. Let me just. Yeah, I think that I've always been a cartoonist, so that's my prejudice. That's where I'm coming from. Wait, let me go this one here. Do I prefer creating animation or comics? Okay, I'm going to say this. It's not animations, it's animation. That animations came from, that term came from from computer programmers who were only thinking in terms of little short snippets. The GIFs are little are animations, little something. They could be cycles. We would call an animation cycle, and maybe we could take several cycles and put them together, and you could actually do a scene with those. Animation is a process. It's like live action. It's an art form. Animations are a thing. animation is an art. You don't say, you have paintings, you have drawings, but drawing is a process. Is actual. It's an actual, and skill. It's an art form. Okay, so anyway, sorry. I prefer comics right now because I get a chance to create a story, my own characters, and I don't have to look over anybody. I don't have anybody else looking over my shoulder. If you don't like what I'm doing, then you have every right not to support me because I don't expect you to. I'm trying to do something that I'm thinking is something that's different. It's my form of expression. And if you like what I'm doing and you want to support what I'm doing, then support my books, my projects. That's great. That's wonderful, and you'll get perks for them. You'll get all kinds of things as a reward for supporting me. But I'm trying to do something that's different, and that's what many people in doing indie comics are trying to do. They're trying to do something that they don't see out there themselves. If I wanted to continue being an animator, I would have tried to do that. But again, the reality is there's no real call for people with my skill set at my age. That's just not the way it is. That's reality. Let's see. So, and whoops, apologize. Yeah, don't you don't have to apologize to me. But I just want to let you know that is basically how it is. It's kind of like calling. You don't call it feats. You have 2 feet. You don't if feats. Anyway, and Joe says, what is your best advice to get over fears when it comes to inking? I fear using brushes because of not having steady hands. Practice. Practice. That's all there is to it. And if you have and get whiteout, look at the books, look at the Jack Kirby pages. Everybody has whiteout. It's not supposed to be perfect. You're not creating a painting. You're creating something that it will be appreciated by others, but don't worry about that. I mean, I've had my fair share of putting a whiteout back in the day when I was using ink. I've got still let's see, Black Magic. This hasn't been opened yet. This is old. Brushes. I still have brushes. I have red sables from 30 years ago. Winsor Newton series number 7. This is when they were still with red sable. Let's see. Is there another one here? I think there is. Let's see what we got here. I tried getting newer brushes, and they're nowhere near as good as what they used to be. I do have. These are not mints. These are just. Show you. Okay, let me see if I can. I turn this camera. Go to this one here. Okay. There are different types of pen nubs. This is it's been a long time since I looked at this one here. I've got Coke Quill. I've got Speedballs. Um, yeah, some of them are very flexible. Some of them very hard, and don't flex much at all. The let's see what else we got here. These all of these here are lettering pens. They're all speedballs, and and uh, and also Coquil, and yeah. These are old pens. I've had these for 40 years, and they don't go out of. I mean, they don't break. Okay, let's see here. So yes. Do you ever do any claymation similar to Med? Nope. No, I was never a good. I never worked with clay. I mold my drawings more like clay, as though they were clay. That's how I think of them. But that's it. No, I haven't. And here, man, is his best. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for saying that. How to start drawing again after losing motivation in the last few years? Just pick up a pencil and a piece of paper. It doesn't cost you anything other than what you can do. I mean, it's nothing. Just get some number 2 pencils. Anything that feels good to you. You don't have to be expensive. Just start. I prefer the Bloodwings myself, but those are expensive. You can get but a decent pencil is going to run you about 75 cents. But it's better than having to spend $300 on a computer program. Okay, is it that one? Yes. But if we're talking about starting, how do I start again? Well, I say this here is when I say hands, just just draw what you feel. There's a point, and it's already you've got a hand that's pointing. Let me just get this here out of here so that we can just feel all around here. We know that we've got think in terms of vectors. There, you've got a splay, something that's just splayed out, and then it's a hand. You always think in terms of what something will look like within a frame. But once again, hands, fists, pointing, doing that. You can look at your hand and just copy it. That's what I do all the time. I did that for the major part of my early years. I don't really look at my hand anymore because I know what the back of my hand looks like. But if you're going to do something, you might want to do it. You want to do, okay. Think in terms of curve. Here's your thumb. Here's the rest of your mitten hand. Now, and then here are the rest of the fingers. So now you're doing this. You don't have to copy it, just get the feeling of it. Um, that's the most important thing. Um, you know, sometimes, you're trying to understand what's the limitation of your of a point of the shoulder, for example. Um, well, that's a rotator. This will turn around, swing up like that. I was doing that. I was studying that and then learning it from myself. I'd go over, and just to draw different parts of the body, you know, as just pieces. That way I know how things would work. That way I knew how to pose something. I didn't have to worry about. I didn't use one of those figurines, those figures where you're trying to pose things together. Let me just get off of this here for a second. I wasn't trying to position things. The idea is to capture something. Sometimes what you need to do is, everybody's got a camera. You have something. If you really wanted to say something, just let it happen. And then if you need to look at yourself, look at it yourself, and then see what the impression is. You're trying to observe, and that's what you're doing. You're capturing a feeling, an essence. And if you want to take a picture, that's not comics, you know. Um, but something as simple as, let's go back to this here. Hmm. So here we have your an arm. That's all I would do. I would just play around with hands and arms and and think about uh, the directions and the forces involved. Animation or even cartooning is really is looking at the forces involved, and that's right there. That's your force. There's your V vector here. Then you have an arm that goes up to your fist is attached to that. Now, when you swing that way, you've got your connection here, your arms to there, and then you're swinging your hand, you're swinging your arm up that way. I'm not trying to draw something anatomically correct. I am just giving an impression. So, well, guys, we've hit the the hour mark, and I'd like to, I'm hopefully being able to do another one of these here, maybe Friday. I don't know. I'll see. If you like what you've seen, please give on YouTube. Just give it a thumbs up and share it, the video, and leave comments so that I know, maybe, because I don't know what I'm going to do for the next one. There's without other people here to go back and forth with, and I mean, you're there in the chat. That's great, but not having someone to talk to, actually converse with, one face to face, it's kind of difficult to keep the conversation going. Um, so um, maybe what I will just keep on doing is maybe the next time it will be, just a continuation of what I'm doing as I'm drawing the characters. I might the next one I might take this and I am trying to. I'll show you how I'm cleaning up with blue line, on another sheet of paper, and then developing, how I'm trying to, get to the final line. Maybe that's the next one I do. But anyway, that's it's an ongoing thing. I I want to keep, and I like to keep these sessions going, and getting people, giving people something that isn't just an ad. I really don't like just pitching my books and talking about them. I want you to understand and experience what it's like being a cartoonist, as a creator, and just going through the stuff, and we can have a chit chat, and you could be looking over my shoulder and watching what I'm doing, and then saying, well, why did you do that? And what was the decision that you made for that? And that starts a conversation. Something, it might spark something else to work with. So anyway, thanks for coming. Let's see what we got here. We'll just finish up here. X-Man Archie says, thank you for the advice. You're welcome. Have a great evening, pop culture. Take care. Thank you for the stream, watching from the Netherlands. Oh, well, thank you for showing up. Wow, it's a long way. Thank you. Okay, well, guys, thanks for showing up, and I hope to see you next time. I will. I'll know the day that I start, that I do this. Whether I'm going to have something. So just stay tuned, and I'll see you the next time. Take care. Oh, let me just do this one and say goodbye.